first rule in grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport.
Crushing, pinch grip, thick bar, wrists.
If the best guy in the world can't lift 100 pounds on it, I don't give a shit about it.
All right, everybody, back again. Like I said, staying on the interviews. So with me now, I have one of my fellow 105 kilo lifters, 105 kilo nemesis, Jason Matkowski. And most of you will know him as Madkow. So, Madkow, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Been waiting to get on the big interview. We did the gym tour, so you've already been here.
True. Now, a question real quick for you. Speaking of big interview, right? You've been on numerous shows that involve grip and cover this. So you've been interviewed a couple times. Would you say, this is totally your opinion, would you say that getting on here and doing an interview on the Grip Show is as prestigious as being on the main stage of the Arnold? Is this the Arnold Classic of interviews for you?
It is. It is. It's an intimidating environment. You got a gorilla, big hand, a little hand. You got a bunch of grippers I'll never close, I think. I can't read them.
As Ashley Schaefer would say, technically it's an orangutan.
That's true.
But anyway, no, I'm just messing with you. So, no, man, I think I got into the sport slightly before you did, but you were not too far after when I remember seeing your name pop up. And you came out the gate with a lot of real good thick bar lifts and some other lifts that were, very, very well above average. You definitely have an athletic background and have done a lot of different things. So I always try to get, the audience familiar with the guest and just kind of, talk a little bit about your background, because the show's had a decent amount of interviews at this point and different competitors on, and nobody really ever has the same story or only does grip. We all have something else that we've done before. So it's always cool to hear about that. So for you, could you just kind of go into...
Well, we're waiting on the first grip-only athlete their whole life. Maybe Emma Dingy. Raised from birth.
No.
She's probably doing other stuff too.
Oh yeah, hitting home runs in softball and everything.
Oh yeah. I don't know who we can raise from birth to do it.
Yeah, I don't know, because you're gonna have to shelter them from every other sport and then just have them do grip sport. But
well, my 3-year-old doesn't want to do anything, so maybe she'll just do grip.
It could be. So yeah, man, if you could just go into a little bit of your, I guess, when did you kind of start lifting weights, or what sports were you doing? What did that training look like? And then basically, how did that lead you to where you're at now, kind of within grip sport?
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, and some would say still through now, I was not really much of a lifter. I was always a really skinny, really fast kind of kid. I was really not small as in like, unable to play sports or like, weak, but I was really skinny and not very tall. I was just fast. I played baseball, soccer, everything, football, all the normal stuff, basketball, football, soccer, everything, hockey. I was obsessed with hockey when I was a little kid, from like 3 to 9. So all that good stuff, roller hockey. Got in middle school. I did track, football, just basketball on the side. High school, I actually did cross country, and I was doing more distance stuff. And then I really got into volleyball down that lane. So volleyball was like my main varsity sport in high school. Once I was, my first 2 years, I was a setter. I didn't really grow until probably my junior year. So yeah, I kind of grew into that, started playing club volleyball in the winter, kind of quit track a little bit more and focused on volleyball. And I played that in college for a couple of years. So that was my main deal. Switched over to beach and played out in California, kind of like semi-pro-ish, whatever, competitive. I played with pros, not against them for money.
Yeah, no, I got you.
That kind of deal. So yeah, that was my main sport. I started playing a little bit of rugby because I liked I played football growing up, and I was still fast, especially once I grew a little bit more. I had good speed at a decent size for rugby, and I could run all day from doing cross country and soccer and all that good stuff. So played a couple years of rugby. I moved out to California, played a little rugby and a lot of beach volleyball out there. Eventually I tore my labrum in shoulder just kind of stopped working for a while, so couldn't really play volleyball.
Is that
Um,
on like your I don't know if you have like a specific like I guess like your strong hand like serving or spiking or whatever. Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know, but
yeah,
what
my
was it that
swinging
shoulder?
hand,
Mhm.
at one point, like it started to hurt, and then one day I was just trying to serve, and my arm would just drop, and I would like hit the ball directly into the ground, and I was like, "Well, that's not good." I would serve the ball about 15 feet in front of me onto my own court, and yeah, my wife is a nurse, so we had some doctors check it out, and they're like, "Well, your labrum's torn. You probably don't want surgery, so just don't do anything that hurts it, and do PT, these exercises." So I kind of laid off volleyball for 3 or 4 years, especially when we moved back to Virginia, and I didn't really know any volleyball people here, so I just joined a rugby team here. Um, Playing rugby is fine. I could shoot a basketball, I could throw a football. I could not do the volleyball specific motion. It was just like I couldn't raise it up. I could throw, but I
Yeah.
couldn't really go above my ear with my good hand. So
How's that stuff feel nowadays? Just curious, like
it's
with everything
fine.
you've been doing
I
lifting.
basically just took 3 4 years off of volleyball, did any other sport I wanted, didn't bother me at all, and then one day picked up a volleyball again. It was fine. So I guess it just healed itself.
All right. So from
Uh,
kind of high school, college, and all that, right? What point do you kind of initially start doing some form of strength training? Because I know you definitely have done the running and other stuff for being an
yeah, I
athlete.
mean, playing college volleyball, like in the off season, we did strength training for vertical, like we did lifting, we did squatting, we did a ton of core stuff and like shoulder work. So I was getting a little slightly bigger and stronger. I was in college, I was 6'3", and I was playing volleyball. I was about 170 pounds, so I was
Okay.
very lean. Um, could have used a lot more size back then, probably not too much, but yeah, and then even like all through my 20s, I was about 185 pounds. And then once I had kids, couldn't really do a lot of stuff outside of the house. I had been gradually building out my home gym already, so I just kept lifting and kind of putting on some size. Um, then all of a sudden I was 215 and I could actually move a little bit of weight around. So I decided to try some like novice level strongman and just kind of
Mm.
do stuff that I could train either like at night or in my own basement to get ready for it. Just have some kind of competition to get ready for. So and that's essentially what led me into finding grip because I would be like warming up at a competition with a couple guys I would compete against and I knew. So they're like, we're warming up on like an axle bar and I'm just doing like 315, like casually double overhand. And they're like, for 3 or 4 reps just warming up. And they're like, hey, you're not really supposed to be able to just do like 4 reps with 315 double overhand, like without thinking about it. And I was like, all right, well, I was always good at the farmers, like all the carry events where grip was involved. I was like just naturally better at that. And my buddy's like, maybe you should just try that because you're kind of mediocre at everything else in strongman.
You mean you're not lifting like 400-pound Atlas stones or nothing?
No, I was not. I was decent at I was a decent deadlifter, which bums me out because after I started grip, I had some back issues and like it was holding me back a little bit on the axle, even at like 400, 415. I was like, well, 18 months ago, I was deadlifting like 500 for three, no problem. And now I'm like slow with 400. It's like holding my axle back, which is pretty frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so kind of packed some of the weight on there, like you said. I was going to ask you like when you broke over 200 or something, or started getting close to the weight
Uh,
you're at. So you about
yeah,
215 now, probably, would you
yeah, in
say?
college, my whole apartment, we are all about 185. My last year of college, we are all trying to see who could get to 200 the fastest. And like, we had one kid that was like an offensive lineman in high school. He hit it in like 2 weeks. He just packed on 20 pounds. And then the rest of us were stuck at 190. So, but yeah, after I had my first kid, I guess I was just sitting around eating ice cream, and I went from like 195 to 215.
All right, yeah, and I don't want to stray off too much because I do want to kind of get into the grip competitions and things. But after you did get a few grip competitions under your belt, or kind of got to understand the game and the whole scene, um, you did like some pretty long runs, or like a long distance running
Uh,
thing, or what
yeah,
was all that? I know we'll probably talk about grip more, but what was that kind of like being at a much heavier body weight? But then what distances were you running, and what was kind of the goal with that? Just curious.
yeah. I mean, I tend to do these just random detours and do like sports that nobody cares about. Like I spent like 3 months in California just at like a table tennis club, like playing like competitive table tennis, and then I was like doing volleyball and doing rugby. Picked up like ultimate frisbee. I played it in high school, and then I picked that back up. So I just do any sport is like pretty interesting to me, and I think I have a pretty diverse athletic background. Like I could pick up anything. I joined a softball team. I joined a flag football team. I do whatever. I do ultimate frisbee. I golf a little bit. So I just any kind of sport is like super interesting to me. I love doing it and getting into it. I always kind of told myself I was thinking more in my 40s once I was like not as explosive and I was sort of kind of on the tail end of volleyball. I figured I'd be playing competitive volleyball like the whole time. Then the labrum thing kind of derailed me. But so I was always thought I was like, oh, one day I'll run a marathon, just like bucket list type of thing. And then I had this window where like we found out we were having our third baby, and I had a lot of PTO saved up, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just try to do like a trail ultra marathon like before this baby comes, and there's like no time to do anything whatsoever because we just started getting settled in with the two toddlers and like
Mhm.
more manageable out of the baby stage. So I was like, my wife is always like, I don't know why you have to do this extreme stuff. You can't just like run a 5K. You're just like, I'm gonna go run a 50-mile ultra marathon. But I decided I was gonna do that and kind of took off of everything else. Like I didn't do any group competitions and I just took like half day of PTO twice a week and disappeared into the woods and would run as far as I can. Eventually I did a tune-up race last March. It was a 30-mile race. I barely finished that. I was dying across the finish line. And then 2 days after that, I was like, well, technically I did an ultra marathon. I could quit now. Maybe I'll just not do the 50 miler, but I ended up sticking it out and I finished under the cutoff time, which was a goal. So,
Okay. Yeah. No,
yeah,
man.
at like a higher body weight. Apparently in marathon and ultra running, they call you like they say it's the Clydesdale division, anyone over like 190 pounds.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
like, I was like 220. I thought I was like, oh, I'm gonna do all this running. I'll be down to like 205 by the time I do this race. I lost like 2 pounds because I'm just eating candy the whole time and gels and Gatorade and just sucking down like 300 grams of carbs. So, yeah. So apparently Clydesdales are big dudes that just keep trucking along and they have to buy more shoes because they wear them out quicker. And there's an unofficial Clydesdale division. I mostly ran by myself, but the couple training runs I did with other people, I'm like asking bigger guys, I'm like, oh, you look kind of like maybe more my size. Like, what do you weigh? And they'll be like, oh, 170. And I'm like, well, I'm
Yeah.
lugging around a lot more than that.
Yeah. I feel like those running sports or climbing and stuff. Yeah. People generally want to stay pretty light or thin, you know.
Yeah, I did rock climbing like kind of after college too, just with my buddies. Like we would hang out at the rock gym, and that's when I was 175. I tried to do it with my cousin, and we're both like 225, 235, and wasn't happening.
No, yeah, it'd be like throwing a 50-pound weight vest on or something and going and trying it after the first time around you were doing it. So yeah, the longest I've ever ran in one go is just a marathon. I have ran a marathon, sort of like a
Nothing.
bucket list thing. But yeah, I was probably around 200, maybe low 200s when I did that. I would say so.
Yeah, you're looking over your
Still
shoulder,
pretty
and everyone's like 140 pounds.
um, but but yes, man, you get into I just wanted to hit that because I knew it was like a 50 miler. Is that the longest one you've done?
Yeah, yeah, and I
Okay.
quit. My wife was like, "Oh, you're just gonna keep running all the time now," and I haven't ran a mile since then. I retired, so
Oh man, so you retired. Um,
I did enough running. I'm done. I was just like Forrest Gump. I walked, and then I was like, "Well, guess I'm done with that."
yeah, just gotta get it out of your system. So uh, now get back into the grip stuff just a little bit. So training for strongman, you kind of realize your grip is standing out in certain events. And who was it that suggested you do an event, or how did that kind of come about for your first one? And I guess the first time you ever did like an official event, even if it was multi-venue, like what was kind of the steps leading up to that?
Was kind of I was doing there was one buddy that I met at my first strongman competition, and he was up in Pennsylvania. So when I would go visit my parents, I would try to drop into his gym. So my cousin came. I got him to do a novice competition with me. So me and my cousin and Ethan, we were training, and I had kind of just already heard a little bit more about rolling handles and things like that. So I built like a makeshift rolling thunder with just like dowel and like PVC. So I was
Probably better. Probably worked
it,
better.
it does. It spins freely, and I built it for about $7. So um, I made him one because I knew he liked to train grip for strongman and stuff like that too. So I made him one, and I made one. I brought it up to his gym, and we were messing around with it, and I was like, you know, he bowed out at like 140, and my cousin bowed out at like 155, and I was pushing like 190 or something like that. And they're like, well, you should probably just do grip competitions. So I started looking into it more. I think the first one I did was the Super Series. I bought a Saxon bar and stuff like that.
Okay. And
Started
then, yeah.
researching, started hitting people up on Instagram. I just kind of jumped in and started. Yeah, I know it's hitting you up right away.
Okay, I was gonna say, who are some of the first people you reached out to? Do you remember like the very first time you like were talking to, I guess, what we would consider grip people or somebody that was already competing? Uh,
Um, Trying to remember the first ones. I mean, I had definitely emailed Ricardo about doing the Super Series and like how it all worked and everything like
yeah.
that. I was looking at all the leaderboards. I'm like, all right, well, I know an axle, like the first, I'm good at thick bar, and it's also the first like introduction I had. So I was
Mhm.
looking at some of the arm lifting USA stuff. I'm like, oh, well, I could probably crack the top five or so on there and be competitive on this and that. And I saw like Eric Roussain's name like 700 times in there, and I don't know who the first people I talked to. I know Travis Winand was one of the people I saw on the list, and I kind of followed him on Instagram. And then I think I found Nick Spencer. He's probably one of the first people I was talking to like more consistently.
He's also like in your area though too, which is, I mean,
A
pretty
little
pretty
bit. He's
nice.
not too
Or
far off. Yeah.
yeah, or at least
Yeah.
it's closer. You know, if you had to travel for a competition a little bit, it's in striking distance, I guess I could say.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the first Super Series, the first stage, I kind of had to do myself. I tried to invite a couple people out, and I think it fell through, or they were doing another venue. Then I hosted the second one, and like Jay came out, and Anna and Vicky and Nick. So a few people that are kind of Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland area. So that was good. So I met a few of them in person, like at my house at Super Series the first time.
okay. Um, and then going, I guess, from kind of the Super Series to stage one, stage two, were those first two stages of that your first competitions, or was there anything in between, or you
No,
know?
the first two was like totally online. The first one I was like I was totally by myself for stage one, and I was like had a couple buddies over. I was like, hey, just like film this and
Yeah.
help me like weigh the weights and stuff like that. And they're like, I don't know what's going on, but we can hang out in your basement for a little bit. My wife is upstairs, like, the kids are coming up and down yelling at me, and they're like, what is going on here? It was just me, like, but then the second time around, we had like a more experienced people around, there. Then I think the first in person kind of one I did was Heavy Hands.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the first one or not, but I know that was later. That was it the same year,
Yeah, it was like 2 months after
2023.
the
Okay.
stage.
And then real quick, I just want to get these two things out of the way before I forget. Jason did mention that that we already did a gym tour. So if you want to see the official Madkow gym tour as of whenever it was when we filmed it not too long ago, but maybe you've made some changes, maybe you've had some upgrades. But yeah, if you go to the Grip Show YouTube channel, I do have an in-person gym tour with the infamous Mad Cow. And then the second piece, after I bring that up, is I know you've done it before on other shows. You've talked about it. It's pretty common sense, but just in case somebody didn't catch on or isn't familiar, right? Um, where does the nickname Mad Cow come from? And you can summarize that or do whatever you want, but just so they're like, hey, who's this Mad Cow character? Or what's up with the cow stuff? Just break that down for us.
Yeah, just real briefly, because I know I've covered it. It's just
Mhm.
no one really actually called me Mad Cat like a nickname until like a few years ago. I had all these different nicknames in high school, but my last name is Matkowski, and I think we were about in middle school when mad cow disease was a big thing. So people started calling me Mad Cow Disease because it sounds like Matkowski, and then Mad Cow just kind of came off of that. And my cousins had kind of the same thing happen. They went to high school in Florida, and they grew up in Philly, so we're just kind of started calling each other Mad Cow. It was kind of like a universal nickname with me and like all my guy cousins. So.
No, it's funny. And so one thing I will mention, we did talk about your first I'll say in person, but yeah, first like single venue, maybe getting to meet some of the people that you talk to online a little bit. Um, everybody from I'm trying to think who all attended Heavy Hands that first time, but like, Eric, Zach Ebel, Ben Helms, Jalen Worley, uh, Doug Carney from Maryland was there. Vintage Weights Rob was there. I'm just naming off random stuff, but there was a
Yeah.
decent little turnout and a lot
Big
of
Bob,
talent packed in one room. Yeah, no, yeah.
big ass
Bob
Bob.
Crop, yeah. Bob was a beast that day. Um, and so going into that first competition like that after the Super Series stuff and being around, probably higher level than you were able to drag to the house, right? What were your thoughts about that competition and sort of getting to meet people and kind of lift in person like that?
Yeah, obviously I've been consuming all the stuff online from people, and I was following Ben and you and Eric and Evil. I was talking to Evil a good bit at the time, so I was kind of like knew it ahead of time that him and Eric were coming down. So I don't know. I mean, I knew what to expect. We did have Nick Spencer at my house for the Super Series, so he's like smoked me on the Saxon, and he was like he was killing it at the Super Series too. So I mean, he's like a high level guy to have,
Oh
an
yeah,
experienced guy to have around.
Nick's definitely strong, and he's very like well seasoned in the fact that he's traveled a lot and done a lot of competitions too. So
Yeah.
he's definitely he's been around the game a lot and also hosted a lot too. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
Nick's a good one.
if you're hanging around at the same, yeah, I think I probably had him on the rolling handle because he hates the rolling handle, and then he smoked me on the Saxon, and we're kind of going back and forth. So I'm like, I've seen his results and I've seen everyone else's results on different things, and I kind of knew what to expect. I'm like, I could probably hang in there on a few things on the thick stuff and try my best on the Saxon, see where it rolls out.
I think for that heavy hands competition, you I think it was the first event doing the one hand nightmare, and I think you kind of gave Eric a run for his money and pushed him a lot farther than anybody thought. And Eric ended up winning that event, but it was only by like 5 pounds maybe. So to me, that was kind of I mean, you see people lift online, you read spreadsheets, you read results, you don't really know anything, but getting a chance to see you lifting in person like that and going against somebody as accomplished as Eric, and then you kind of basically going head to head with him all the way till the very end. You guys are the last two standing. That was just a huge statement right there, and I feel like that was almost one of the like I already knew you were strong, I already knew you had very good potential, but to me that was like the in person moment when I was like, man, like this dude's got a lot of potential. He's probably better. He's better than we thought. You know what I mean? Or at least to me, that's what I was thinking. I was like, damn, that's a huge lift. So did you kind of feel that way about that lift? Did anything surprise you with that, or did you kind of just know like, hey, I've been lifting these numbers, so were you kind of expecting to do that well, or was that
No, I
shocking?
mean that was a pretty big shock for like a single event, especially because it was the first one, and everyone's like, "Who's this guy dressed all crazy coming in here?" And no, I'm like, I just show up. I'm like, I never met anyone. I just talk to people online, but I just get some crazy outfit and roll out there. But I mean, I kind of expected to be like in the fifth range, like maybe near you on the thick handle stuff, and then
Mhm.
below you on like pinch stuff, and but I've just figured like Eric and Ben and W and like maybe some other people are gonna kind of clear me on pretty much everything. So yeah, getting second on that was pretty cool, and getting close to matching Eric because I'd only pulled about 230, 235 in my basement on that handle, and then
Mhm.
I was able to pull like 255. I think every single time I was just like tapping the bar. But I mean, I've done strongman competition, so I'd done like a strength sport competition environment. I've played
Yeah.
volleyball in college. It's like it's not like some crazy foreign thing like, oh, you're gonna go up and compete on a stage and people watch you lift. I'm like, yeah, I go up, lift what I can lift, and that's about it. But it was really
Yeah.
cool to kind of push Eric on that. I think that's the closest I got to beating Eric on anything for like 3 years. So
I was gonna say, man, you've probably got him in some event. You never beat him on
but
Freestyle Hub or something, right? I'm
I
sure you
got
have
him
to.
on Thumb Blaster.
Okay. Yeah.
He still beat me
Um,
on the Freestyle Hub. I texted you. I was like, I put up a big number at King Kong, and then I'm like, well, not big enough to beat Dingy or Eric still.
yeah. No, man, and that's a big statement though, coming out like that. And the one thing I will mention, you talked about wearing some crazy clothes out there, right? You had like a cow print hat on, and I want to say
Yeah,
shorts and like some
shorts.
kind of like button-up Hawaiian type shirt,
Yeah, I had
almost
the
like a
Hawaiian cow shirt and the
like
shorts.
a. So that was cool. And the one thing I will mention that was a little bit unique about that, for that to be really like your first like in person kind of a single venue competition like that outside of you hosting it. Um, I will say that, and I don't want to like use like a big time wrestling example, but it's kind of like that. But I'll just say certain athletes in general. There's a moment when they just sort of have like the it factor, or they just get over with the crowd, or whatever you want to call it. Um, and basically, that's the only time I think in a grip competition, especially like almost debut, like really. is that, I'm sorry, the udder on the bottom of the coffee cup just got me. Um,
The 29.
yeah. So,
This is the
um,
worst mug of all time. It gets 5,000 degrees hotter than the contents inside. You can't hold it. So I just have water.
okay. but uh, but I haven't seen it very often where, because a lot of times when we compete in grip, there's not always the biggest crowd. A lot of time it's kind of our own peers. We're lifting with everybody, and there's some spouses or kids and whatever running around, but sometimes some spectators and family. But depending on the venue, there's not always just spectators. Usually, if you're there, you're kind of competing or you're attached to someone competing. Um, even so, being in that gym with everybody there, mostly competing and having some other you know some other spectators there. Uh, I don't know if it was the first event or it might have been towards the end of that first event, but you had the crowd basically saying moo like a cow. Like that was almost like the celebration. So it sounded like they were booing you when you would lift, but they were saying moo all together. But to actually like win a crowd over in grip sport with the clothes, or I almost say gimmick, but you get what I'm saying. Like with the name, the clothing, and then the lifts, like right out the gate, it was just funny for me because I was like, man, like you just don't see that very often. So was that kind of surprising how like, man, I'll just wear this, I'll wear some goofy clothes, I'll roll down there, do my lifts, and then like probably the first 30 minutes of the competition, you already have almost like a signature crowd chant going.
Yeah, yeah,
What was that like?
it was weird because I thought they were booing me because I showed up out of nowhere and I think it was at the end of the first rolling handle because I just kept going up there and doing like 5 more pounds with Eric and just me and Eric for a little while and I thought they were just booing me because I'm like, show up out of nowhere and I'm, Chaz and them are, I know Chaz has been doing grip for 45 years. So after he got out, I thought he was just booing me because I was kept going on the first one. I was like, well, you still got pinch coming. Don't get too excited.
Yeah,
But
no,
it
man,
was funny. And then they kind of kept it going afterwards. They're like, no, we're saying moo. I
that
think
was
that was
good.
probably Big Bob and Chaz hanging in the back.
No, definitely, yeah. And Chaz beat me on Saxon that day. I think it's the first and only time he beat me on Saxon bar, because I was talking trash to him, saying like, okay, like yeah, whatever, like it's 3 inch Saxon, dude. Like you're close on 2 inch, but you're not gonna beat me on three. He beat me on three that day, so I had a bad day. Well, it wasn't very good. Didn't do terrible, but yeah, Chaz got me, so I had to tip my hat to him on that one. So yeah, I guess after that competition wraps up, you ended up taking second place there. Actually, in between for the weight class, you took second place behind. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that rolling handle
That's my big
trophy.
hardware shelf.
Yep.
I'm only
Um,
about 160 trophies away from matching Eric, I think.
how many gorillas? I'm joking. Um,
Well,
but the King
however
Kong
many he had.
gorilla. Yeah. So don't worry, I never got a gorilla statue either, and I don't know that my chances of I think my chances have only gone down as time goes on.
I think if I drop to 74, maybe I can.
Oh yeah, right. Um, let me look at something real quick. My bad. Okay. No, this battery's about to die on this thing. For some reason, I didn't plug it in. I'll get to it in a second. But so yeah, with heavy hands going on and getting into first competition, kind of winning the crowd over, getting to meet people. Um, how did you feel once that competition had wrapped up? You took second place in your division. You beat me in that competition, and you were behind Ben Helms, who was second overall in the competition. What did you feel pretty good about that performance? And then how did that kind of motivate you to get into the next events that you were going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, that was the best environment, but of any competition, like possibly ever. I mean, that I experienced in grip. Like the whole
Yeah.
crowd was like super into it. We had such high level people, and like W flew in, and Eric and Evil came in from Canada just for like a your first competition, put one on. That was crazy, and we just had such a
Yeah.
good crowd. Like all the local guys, we had like how many people were there? Like 15, 20 guys, and
Yeah, they were competing and then a little extra, as far as the spectators.
yeah,
Yeah.
we even had
But
the rest of the gym goers
yeah. It
going around.
usually does kind of attract a decent, like if you ever do one of these competitions and it's hosted at a gym and other people are just going through their natural routines,
Yeah,
you're generally going to draw a little bit of a crowd because they're like, what are they doing? What are they lifting a square bar? Like, what's that about? So it always gets some looks. And
yeah.
yeah,
There was
usually
one
supposed to be
dude
pretty cool.
that came up. We were all hanging around the leg press, kind of leaning on it, and he comes up and he puts 4 plates on it, gets pinned, needs us to spot him, goes away for about 15 minutes, comes back and does the same thing, gets pinned again, and then just never seen him again. So I don't know what that was about.
Man, well, he probably could have got the reps a lot better if you guys weren't leaning on the machine and jamming it down trying to.
Yeah, well, I think Big Bob is like another 400 pounds by himself. So Big Bob basically just rode it up the sled and reset it for him.
So
We're like, who's this dude coming in, just getting pinned on leg press twice and just leaving the gym?
right. Um, yeah, he's pretty. Who knows? Yeah, maybe that was like his first day even walking in that gym, and he's like, "Man, there are these weird people in the corner, like lifting, just lifting these weird handles and bars, and I got stuck on leg press twice, and I'm not going back."
You
But
saw Bob and got excited.
yeah. So what was kind of like your training like after that, and then kind of getting ready for the next competition, or do you remember what your kind of next goal was competitive wise after heavy hands?
Yeah, I think that's when I did Nick's Snacktown one the first time. And I drove up. I stayed at my buddy's house. I don't know if I trained like all that well for that one. Um, but there's good events for me. It was just local. That's when Indy showed up for the first time, and he's just like
Oh,
this
yeah.
quiet guy, and he's like, oh yeah, I don't know, I'm just kind of trying this stuff. I didn't really know if I should sign up for a competition, but it was right down the road, and then he just like pulls like super good numbers for a 83 kilo or whatever he was at the time.
Oh
He
yeah.
wasn't
For
super
lighter
duper
body weight,
jacked.
he's super strong. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, he
yeah.
wasn't super jacked Indy then. He was just like kind of muscular Indy.
Trying to trick you guys.
Yeah, yeah,
Going
he
there
just like
disguised.
yeah, he was just kind of like shy off to the sides, and his kids were going crazy, jumping off of stuff and hurting themselves. But yeah, I think his kids play on sports teams with Nick, so like they're in the same town and everything like that.
That's
Yeah,
I
I
mean
did that
that's a good little
one.
grip connection. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then that was a cool venue he has up there too. I think he's still doing it. I missed the last one. I went up the time after that. And Chaz picked me up on the way. But um, I think the big thing I was trying to focus on was the Arnold from there because when I was reading about grip from the get-go, I was like, oh, obviously it's some niche little sport, but I always wanted to go to the Arnold in general, just go to the whole expo. And I was in the strongman. I was like, oh, the strongman guys are going to be there. And then I was like, I really just want to qualify or whatever I need to do to get on and like lift at a big stage there in front of a bunch of people. That would be pretty cool because I've never done something like that. Walk around, meet some of the strongman guys and like some other people I was kind of friends with online from strongman. So that was the next big thing I was really like amping up for.
And just to bring up that Arnold performance, man, that was I actually missed that year. It was 2024, right?
Yeah.
I, that's the only Arnold I didn't do since 22.
Mm.
And I remember seeing the lineup, but yeah, that was a very stacked division for you because you lifted 100 kilos
Yeah.
that year. That was a very stacked division. I really wish I could have made that one. But did Yvonne win that year? And Eric was right behind him.
I think so.
I thought that's how that one went that year.
I kind of
Because
lost track because I was in like fifth place in the division. Like everyone was
yeah,
the Sax like every basically whatever like the Saxon world record for 100 kilos was like three people like matched it, and then Eric and Yvonne went above it, and Simon in the 110s was like putting up some
oh yeah,
crazy numbers on that. And then I know Nick was obviously good on the Saxon too there. So I bowed out early on the Saxon. I had like a below average day on the Saxon. Everyone else just smoked it and went crazy on it. And then even the axle, I was like, at least I can hang on the axle, and I was still Eric was probably going up to the 430s and Yvonne, and I know I was kind of right in the same neighborhood on that as like Jake Fuller and
Was Cliff
Cliff.
there? Oh, I was
Yeah,
gonna say Cliff. Okay, yeah. If Cliff's there and you're talking Axel, yeah, he's going to be a problem.
yeah. I tried to chat up Cliff, and he looked at me like I was an alien and walked away.
Uh, that's at Team Ohio.
I was
Um,
wearing like a gold chain and like a cow hat and stuff like that. So
right. So to bring that up, like, so you're wearing some of your stuff. Now, obviously, during competition, you're wearing the athlete shirt like everybody else with the name on it and stuff. When you're at the expo, you're probably dressed however you want, and you got your full get up on, right?
yeah,
Um, you had some cards like printed out,
I forgot
right?
about.
You made like some like I don't know like Photoshop pictures or like
Yeah,
professional looking like cards, but it was like you with the cow or you in the cow gear and having like infinite amount of plates on a bar or something, right?
yeah. I was talking
And
to someone about just like showing up to the Arnold and pretending like I was like a celebrity at the Arnold, even though I was like like a D-list grip person. But I just kind of I printed these goofy pictures. I had my sister Photoshop it, so I had like probably like 350 pounds on like a V bar and like 700 pounds on the axle bar or something like that. I was in like a dairy barn. So I brought them. I was just writing notes on them for people and giving them. I gave one to Dingy and he just kind of looked at me, looked away, and never talked to me. So I was like, not sure about this guy.
we're still not sure about that guy. We're still trying to
Nah,
figure him
I
out.
mean, we know he's
Um,
aquatic. That's about all we know about him.
yeah, definitely. No, he's land or sea. Um, so with that, you hand these things out that you're like signing and messing around with, right? I get it. It's more just like a prank and screwing around, but can you remember if anybody had like the best reaction out of everybody that you gave something like that to? Was there any like reaction that you had from somebody that was just hilarious or I don't know, worth
Um,
mentioning? Or were they all kind of just like the same confusion?
yeah, general confusion. It was either someone that I already knew, so they weren't that surprised, or somebody that I'd
Yeah,
never met before at all, and they're just like, "Thanks,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, let me put this right in the trash can and call it a day."
Now, is that when you got a chance to meet and I'm going off on tangent. We'll get back to some more serious stuff here, but is that when you got to in passing, you walked by Kiriako's Grizzly, right?
Yeah,
The same place. Yeah, you caught him walking around. What did Big Grizzly think about meeting Madkow?
well,
Was he
I
starstruck?
he was because I wanted to get a picture of him, but he was just kind of strutting through. And like, I guess like pretty much every lifter you'll ever meet, he was like 4 inches shorter than I thought.
Hmm.
I'm like picturing him like 6'2", like, full pounds, whatever he weighs, 400 kilos. And then he kind of walks by me and I'm like, kind of like give him a nod and he kind of nods at me. And then I pull out my phone to do a selfie over my shoulder. And just when I snap the picture, he looks over his shoulder and does this little like cute little smirk in my picture. And he's just like,
Yeah, no, that's
I
funny.
have like he looks all tough in every single picture, just like messing around. I know he's like likes to mess around with people like that, but I got one picture of Grizzly like looking over his shoulder, smiling at me. So first
That's
time
pretty
I've seen him
funny.
break.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty funny dude. Like, yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
can almost tell that like he's got a sense of humor for sure.
for sure.
Like, but yeah, so um, all the joking aside, with signing autographs or the pictures and everything else at the Arnold, um, you still probably put up uh 400 plus axle, I assume. You know what I mean? So you've put up great lifts from the very beginning, and then even up on the biggest stages with some of the best lifters in the sport, you've delivered some real big lifts. Um, and I guess from where you're at now and what you're going to be, looking forward to these other competitions, um, what kind of stuff do you feel like you've improved on more, or I don't know, or I know maybe you felt like maybe pinch was slightly a weakness at one point, or not as good as the thick bar. Is that kind of stuff that you've been working on recently, or as you move forward into competitions, are you looking to?
I mean, I'm trying. Yeah, I told you I was gonna come on here and tell everyone I have no idea how to train or improve at anything. It's completely random for me. So I go down there. I have a plan. Sometimes I stick to it, and it doesn't work, and then I don't have a plan and it still doesn't work. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to get better at pinch. I was getting better at 3x4 sacks, and the wider pinch isn't horrible. And I'm actually decent at blobs. I found out when I finally got some blobs because I've been picking up some decent blobs. But the narrower the pinch, this no good for me. And I don't know. I'm trying. I haven't done axle in a while. I've just been messing around with all different stuff. I mean, doing that layoff where I did the ultra marathon, came back in. I was like not sure if I was going to compete last year, and then I was like, well, I should do King Kong because I meant to do it the 2 prior years, never worked out, and had good events for me. A couple things. I mean, I'm good at thick bar, rolling handle, freestyle hub, and that's about it. So
Most
whenever,
vertical lifts too, though. I know freestyle hub is kind of the
yeah,
gray area, but you have good vertical lifts. I mean, for sure.
yeah, solid vertical lifts. I'm decent on like the 2 inch hill and stuff like that, except at the Arnold. But I know the Little Bighorn was like I was super happy how I performed on Little Bighorn at King Kong because I had touched it at Heavy Hands. That was the first time I ever touched one, and I was just like pulling every weight. I was like 165, 175,
Hmm.
185, feels good. I'm like, all right, I'm probably gonna end up like 205. I got 195 and it just would not budge off the floor. So I was like, okay, that was interesting. I wasn't able to touch one for a while. Came back and did it at Nick's competition, but I think I was just kind of off that whole day and like all my lifts were down. So I was kind of confused about where I was at with that. And I was able to end up pulling like 216 on it. So I was happy with that. So I think that's probably in my bag of things that I'm better at this point.
Yeah, because I would say King Kong this past year, didn't you do like 220s? Or weren't you like right
I
up
was like
there?
216, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, I
was
was gonna say
super
that's
happy
a
with that. Like
good
technically
lift.
the heaviest I'd done in competition before that was like 183 at heavy hands or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good lift for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I really got dialed in with the technique better. I got the rope kind of breaking off the floor with the rotation stuff like that. I think mine had been seasoned pretty good, and maybe at heavy hands there's too many people on it.
oh,
I know
I'm
Rob
sure.
Sully wanted to go in and do 400 attempts on it
Well, it's
and
just
keep
Ben
PRing.
rubbing his sweaty hands all over it. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Ben Helms rubbing his sweaty, clammy hands all over the thing, messing the texture up.
yeah. I
Um,
think there's a once you get into like the 160 to 180 range, there's like a lot of people tapping out of like a
yeah,
overall population. There's like 20 lifters there, so I don't know if it got a little, I don't know, a little moist or something like that,
it's
or
one of those lifts that can always change too. Because I mean, I've had times where like 200 feels like a warm up, and I'm like, oh man, I'm shooting big today. And then the very next trip to the platform, it's like it won't even break off the ground, and you're like, what
yeah,
changed? What happened? So that one is, I mean, don't get me wrong, the technique's important and everything else, but being able to adapt on the fly with those conditions or you're in the moment, that's one of the biggest things for some of those vertical lifts when you get the friction going is being able to dial in that moment and not necessarily getting so caught up in, well, I lifted this at this place or I lifted on a different handle in training. Like it's in that moment, you got to like, prep that specific implement in real time as it's changing every trip to the platform with everybody else. And it does make it tricky to pull off, PRs or bigger numbers. It's hard to pull a maximal lift, and then you have these outside variables that you can't control as well.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think like I was super happy with the conditions because I hosted King Kong like in my backyard. I was gonna have it in my basement, and we started getting 6 people, 7 people, 8 people. I was like, it's gonna get a little tight. And fortunately, it was like a nice, cool, but like sunny, cool fall day with like not raining or anything like that. So we're outside. I think the breeze kept everyone from sweating on it too much and messing all up. I know. Well, actually, the eyelet started coming loose in my little bighorn when me and a couple of people near the end were lifting it. We just kept like lifting it left-handed as hard as we could to like tighten it back in before we did the right-handed attempt.
no, I know what you mean. I've seen that happen on one little bighorn before, and yeah, it's just that eyelet. It'll unscrew one direction and tighten the other, and depending on which hand you're kind of twisting with for the ground break,
Yeah.
you run into the potential of it loosening. But yeah, it doesn't happen too often. But yeah, I have seen one happen like that before,
Yeah, we just
and
kind of before each attempt we tightened it the best we could and it was fine.
um, so that kind of covers some of the background, some of the stuff you've done, getting into things that you're going to do. Uh, in general for the sport. I don't know if you just want to get into general sport discussion or general grip training stuff, but as far as and this could be anything from, I don't know, maybe things you like in the sport, things that you think could be improved. Is there anything from videos you're watching recently, competitions you've done recently, anything that kind of pops up in your mind first? Maybe a rule or a handle or something, or just an idea of, hey, it's probably better if this happened, or I don't know. And like I said, there's no pressure on this. It's literally like a freestyle question. So just curious if you had any things about the sport as a whole that like, hey, this format or this thing, or hey, a little bit of this would be cool. Just any ideas. Is anything on your mind now with the current state of competitions and grip that you've been seeing?
Uh, I don't know of anything that really has been covered too much. I'm generally a fan of just lifting to, a crossbar. I think that's just a fair way to do it for all the different height people involved and like the height of the loading pin, the height of the lifter, or whatever. Just it's just tough, I think, to do a lockout on some of the lifts, just the way your angle of your arm and everything like that is coming up one side of your leg if you're flexing your elbow to get more tension, stuff like that. So I do think lifting to a bar is just it makes it cleaner to judge, but there's definitely I think there's a couple things that probably arm lifting does too that GSI does a little differently that some people prefer one way or the other. But I think I don't know. I mean, I like how King Kong was just run overall with everything's easy to judge.
Yeah.
It's easy to find a place. I was looking for a place to go and compete, and I was not planning on hosting, and I was like kind of making a map with all the ones that Eric had listed. I was like, well, there's a giant hole like exactly in the map where I live, so I guess I should just, fill that gap in a little bit and get some of the Virginia people and some of the Maryland people.
You had a pretty good turnout for that too, though, right? Your King Kong event. You had
Yeah, we got like 8 people. I want to do it again next year.
okay.
I'm gonna try to entice some of my buddies to come over and like help score keep and like grill for everyone and just kind of like you man the grill, you man the computer. I'll give you all like burgers and beer and help me run it a little bit. I might try to run two platforms too.
No, that, that
'Cause
that could be really good too, especially if you have like a skill gap or you know what I mean, depending on who
it
shows
took a
up.
long time and like we had at least I think we had 3 people at least that hadn't done a competition before. So it's like they don't know, they have no idea where they're going to be at. They don't know what warm ups they need to take and stuff like that. So there's so many attempts that probably don't need to be taken with like the newer guys just because they don't know where they're at on that handle. They never touched it. They're
Yeah.
like warming up with 80, 90, and then they end up lifting a 160 on the crusher. It's like, all right, well, you didn't need to
Yeah.
take 15 minutes doing warm up attempts at 90 pounds, stuff
No,
like
for
that.
sure. Yeah, and I think it's that's something that when I attended some and like I said, as long as you have the personnel to do it, it's a great idea. Um Chad Clark, when he was still with Armlifting USA, and he would do the Super Series in Roanoke, and Chad Clark was, I think, the first venue I went to after finding out about the sport. And when I went up to that Super Series thing, he actually had two different rooms in that gym, and they split it two different platforms. They have kind of like, hey, we have like some experienced lifters out here to help run this thing, kind of like the staff or whatever. So they would be helping the newer lifters kind of, load, judge, and do all that stuff. But there was definitely kind of like a divide of, hey, who's planning on lifting like this much or who's planning on lifting that, and you kind of just get everybody, a little bit closer to where they're going to be. And it does make it smoother. But yeah, you do have to have, you know, there's things that people don't think about sometimes, hey, you got to like load these plates. If it's a Saxon or axle, you're loading both sides. Somebody's got to pick these plates up and put them on and put them off every single time, every warm up, judging calls. Like it seems very simple, but it can be a little bit frustrating, or it can actually,
Yeah, I mean, it gets
yeah,
hectic when like somebody's loading, someone's trying to weigh it, someone else has to update this and like update the score sheet and who did the lift and also what's the current weight on the bar because I always run the monitor on the thing and
yeah,
just so everyone's, which in theory takes all the guesswork out of it until someone doesn't update the number on the monitor and something like that.
right,
Then you're
yeah,
like, but I mean, the other tough thing is you get everyone around like cheering and getting into it when you have one platform too. So I'm even
yeah,
considering doing two platforms on like we'll run two platforms and then we'll run one and two and one depending on the event just to kind of get everyone more
Yeah.
involved in the same thing. And
And as long as the two platforms are relatively close or
yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
around, you could do that.
yeah.
Yeah. But like,
Because
yeah, that one in Roanoke
I
went
mean,
bad
at
because
some
I mean,
point,
they had the
if you have
room
like,
split.
yeah, if you have 8 people, 4 on each one, and like one person's loading, one person's doing a score sheet, one person's lifting, and it's like no one's really ever just spectating and like getting into the
Yeah.
environment.
No, that's true. Um, so getting into, I guess just kind of general stuff and for people to get to know you or just kind of get an idea of some of the stuff you like to train. I know you mentioned, thick bar, probably generally being better at thick bar from the beginning. And, that's kind of something that you stand out in. So clearly that's probably going to be something that you gravitate towards, or you sort of, hey, I kind of like these lifts, or I like this a little better. We usually like things we're, a little bit better at. Or right now, currently, what are some of your favorite lifts or handles, or what's something you really look forward to train when you're doing your grip stuff these days?
I mean, there's only a couple of things I really don't like to train, like grippers and narrow pinch. They just feel bad on my hands. I don't like the feeling of the gripper like exploding my hand out. Like I like to be able to just let the implement go or whatever, or grab it or
Hmm.
don't. So
Yeah.
just that pressure that just starts expanding your hand, I don't really like with grippers. I mean, I'm still trying to train them because I'm going to nationals, I'm going to North Americas, and they're in there. Um,
So you
everything,
do plan on going to both those competitions? Just curious.
yeah, I'm
Oh
signed up.
man. Okay. Okay.
I think I sent you my flight confirmation to Minneapolis yesterday. So
I saw that one, but when you just said nationals, I was like, oh, I didn't know we got a bonus appearance coming
yeah,
up.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
signed up. Mike Saffel has my money.
Oh man, I don't trust that guy with it. No,
Yeah, I'm
I'm,
gonna
I'm,
show
I'm
up. He'll be like, "You never signed up. What do you mean?
yeah. No,
$100,
I'm,
please."
I'm joking. No, Mike's a good guy. Mike is a friend of the Grip Show and a fellow Team Ohio member.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
need to get Mike
I
on
mean,
here sometime, actually. See
yeah,
what.
get back on. I think he was on for the some of the recaps, but
No, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm training on that kind of stuff. Eric put the wrist wrench on there, right? Apparently, I'm like the worldwide wrist wrench expert slash knowledge base. I'm not sure why I'm more of an expert than anyone else, just because I'm decent at it, or I'm good at it. But so I keep telling people that I paid Eric to put that in King Kong, just
Oh yeah, no, that's
behind the
that's a good
scenes.
joke. Yeah.
Yeah, just to besmirch Eric. He's never on Instagram, so we'll never find out. So.
Oh, he is. I think he's just very professional and behind the scenes. But Eric, he has his ears to the streets. He knows what's going on. All
Yeah,
contest formats. Eric is yeah, Eric's the guru. He's overseeing a lot of stuff, whether you think he is or isn't. Um,
yeah, yeah. I was kind of because I meant to go to North America's at Eric's 2 years ago. Did you went to that,
no,
right?
I missed it, man. I didn't do that one either. 24 was kind of rough for me to get to some of those bigger traveling
Yeah,
competitions.
I
So
really had planned on it, and then I canceled, and I was like super bummed out because I was like, I had some stuff I wanted to lift on, get up there and lift against like him and Trey and some of the other Canadian guys up there. And I think did Jed go to that one?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Jed, Jason, Luke, W. I want to say Rob. I think Rob McMurrin was there, I believe. And I'm sorry if I leave anybody out. I'm just naming random names that come into my head.
Yeah,
But a
yeah.
lot of big lifters were there. It was really good. Eve, I just interviewed Eve Gravel.
Mhm.
Eve was there. Um,
Yeah, I'm hoping a lot of those guys show up to Minneapolis so I can meet
it'd be
like
nice.
I want to
Yeah.
meet Rob and obviously looked with Eric and hopefully Trey makes it down, stuff like that, and a couple people I talked to. But yeah, I missed out on that one, but Nashville should be cool too. Like still haven't competed with Jed or Luke or I mean I Cliff the one time, so I don't know if he's coming back, but I
We'll
know
see. I don't know. That's a mystery
that
for me. I don't know.
yeah, because I'm from Pennsylvania and I go up there and I'm like maybe I can make it up to Jed's venue for something, but it hasn't worked out yet. Got to
No, I
go
mean,
to
if you get a
that.
chance, definitely go up there. He's got a lot of cool stuff to try.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
I've been
lot
to
of
Jed's a couple times, but yeah, it's nice, especially if it kind of sucks though too, because sometimes if you go up there for a competition, there's all this cool stuff you want to lift, but you're like, well, I don't want to travel this far and like mess up all my competition lifts. So sometimes you have to do the competition and then just hope you're still fresh enough to lift things afterwards. But yeah, no, he
yeah.
has a lot of cool stuff. So
That's what it was like at Ben's house. I was like, well, I want to do this competition, but I also want to try to do like a double inch lift and try a fat man and all that stuff. But
yeah.
I've gotten a little bit of the feet stuff now that I need. So I'm not as antsy to try out a bunch of that stuff. But I know Dingy has some cool stuff, and I
Oh,
don't
and I
know
can
what.
bring whatever. If anybody's going to be at nationals and wants to try something they seen me have before or something, I'll be loading up and bringing some stuff there for the medley. So, yeah, if there's a special request that isn't in a medley or isn't already at Jason's, I can bring that up,
Yeah,
for whoever if they got something they want to try. But
I might bring some mini horns, distribute them.
no, you should, yeah. Did you want to go into those at all or no? I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's a
we
cool
I mean,
idea. I used them the other day doing some blob lifts to add some weight on, and but yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about the mini horns and how those came
yeah,
about. I mean, obviously there's ways to use magnets and other stuff, but I think that was a cool design you came up with, and it's something that isn't. Um, it's almost like taking a magnet but in a loading pin shape, and then so it is kind of a little bit different than just slapping a plate mate on or just tying a shoestring over something. It's kind of a
yeah,
combination of these things, and I thought it was good because oftentimes in the sport, with training in general, a lot of stuff is just people trying to reinvent the wheel or doing something a little excessive and it's not needed. And, but that was one where I was like, man, no, like, yeah, when you were talking about the prototypes and making them, I said, oh, dude, send them to me. Like, that's something I'll literally use. So, and then when you finally got it refined and kind of have it looking like the horns and stuff, I was like, man, that's cool.
yeah,
We need to almost like, maybe I'll try to bring a picture up during this, like on the screen while we talk. Maybe people can see it, hopefully. But yeah, if you just want to go into how you kind of came up with that idea or sort of what your thought was creating it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
talk about
mean,
that.
I forget. I think I was originally I wanted to gap. I have York roundhead dumbbells that I lift with, like up to 50s, and I was like, well, I'd like to be able to do 2.5s and fives on there. I started looking at the plate mates and stuff like that. They're just so expensive. So then I was like starting to bounce around an idea of maybe I could just magnet on something that I could load plates onto. And I started messing around and like trying out a couple things with it, but it's not really strong enough to be able to handle like tossing dumbbells around and pressing and like dropping back on the ground and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I kind of abandoned the idea for a while. And then when I started buying a couple blobs, I'm like, this is getting real expensive real quick. And I have like 15-pound increments. And I had a 95, a 110, and a 125 legacy. And I'm like, I need to be able to load these a little bit. And
Yeah.
I kind of brought back the same idea and I figured out getting like a rubber washer to go around the magnet part. So at least when it tilts a little bit and you're like vibrating when you're hitting the floor a little bit with the blob, it's not perfect, but it'll help grip around like the curvature of it without sliding down like crazy real quick. So that's kind of the genesis of it. And I just started messing around with some prototypes. I know I sent you one to mess with when I had like somewhat dialed in.
Yeah, no, I've used them on dumbbells and blobs recently. I've done it. So I've definitely used it for that, but it would be cool to slap on the top end of a plate curl, you know,
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
do stuff like that. So there's so many uses with it, and that loading pin shape, but being still really small and like, yeah, if you got fractional plates or anything you need to bridge a gap with, those things are awesome. And probably a lot more affordable than trying to get a couple different sets of plate mates or taking five,
Yeah. I
ten
was
minutes
like,
to tie up strings and retie stuff. So
yeah.
it's
I'm
super
like, if I want to
convenient.
start
I
getting
like them.
like four 2.5s and four fives or something like that for Playmates, it's like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, real quick and easy. It's like slap them on. I don't have an inch bell yet. It's coming along the way, but I have the loadable one, and I stick them on the end of the bolts for the bolt loadable one. It works really good
Mhm.
for that. So yeah, just something simple and easy, not cost prohibitive, and slap
Yeah.
it.
Or do you have any in stock or available, or do you kind of make them like, I don't say made to order, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
kind of what it
I
is?
made after I sent out a few to people and people, kind of spread the word just real low key. I just made like five more sets and then they sold out like immediately. And then I made a couple more sets. So yeah, I'll make them. It's kind of annoying shipping them, and it's like $10 to send a $20 product that I'm making $4 on. So I'd rather
Yeah.
just bring a whole bunch to like nationals or something like that and just
No, for sure. That would be that'd probably be an easier move, and I don't think you'd have a problem offloading some there for sure.
yeah.
Um, So, no, man, I think it's a cool idea. Like I said, I'm gonna try to bring a picture up on the screen when it gets to this part of the episode because I just want people to understand what we're talking about. And if they're listening in on like a Spotify or Apple Podcast or somewhere else, yeah, just go to YouTube and check out the video portion, or probably go to your channel and check out some of your lifts somewhere where you can see them being used, um, or if you
Yeah,
know of any other posts. So,
I posted my little goofy like advertisement for it, and
oh, the commercial was amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
I showed a couple people the commercial.
I think it
Um,
was what like Grip Neanderthal on Instagram. Somebody was asking if I could send them to like Norway or something, and I'm like, it's probably going to cost $150 more to ship them than. I
than it is to make it or
was
whatever.
like, I don't
Um,
know what to tell you. Find a magnet and screw it into a dowel, and I don't know.
yeah.
I was like,
But no,
I'll
yeah,
do it
super,
if you want to
super
pay
useful. Yeah.
$80 in shipping for something that's not that important, but
No,
it's
yeah,
a
man.
I think it's a cool little gadget.
It definitely is. And like I said, I'm one of those people that when I've not that I don't collect some things, or not that I don't have like a pretty big grip collection or weight collection in general. Um, but yeah, I don't just like collect random things that have no value for training. You know, if it's something that I do have, even if it sits for a bit and I don't use it, or it takes a while to rotate back in, it still has a purpose. You know, I don't just have stuff sitting around collecting dust that I'm never going to use again and I just collect it. So, but that's one that, yeah, as recently as this past week, I was using it on blob lifts. So, yeah, definitely wanted to, if you wanted to talk about that one, yeah, I definitely wanted to give you a shot to talk about it because um, I think it's useful, it's cheap, it's quick, and a little bit different than what people have done in the past for those
Yeah.
methods.
It's
So,
almost like I want to sell them if people want them, but I also like kind of don't feel like it, but I'll sell them if people want.
yeah, I got you. You don't want to force it, or you don't want to like make that you don't want to start spending like 20, 30 hours a week diving into building these things. And
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know, at
I
least I
haven't
assume you
like,
don't want to.
I
Yeah.
haven't been working in my career for 15 years to like make a good wage to go and spend my limited time selling. I don't want to sell them for, I don't want to sell them for a price point that's like ridiculous. And,
Yeah.
but, yeah, so I'll probably just make a batch of them and bring them to, like nationals or something like that. I would bring some to Minnesota too, but I'm not sure if like they'll give me a problem with a bunch of magnets on the plane or something like that.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I never even really thought about that, but
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna like send my bag through with like 30 magnets through like the scanner, and it's just gonna break their $50,000 machine or something.
get you hauled out of there.
Yeah, it's like an MRI machine. It just explodes on the inside.
so, so no, man, with you going to nationals, which isn't too far out. Like I said, I would say we could do some Arnold predictions, but yeah, we don't really know who's going to show up, so it's tough. We're just going to say names that competed in the past, whatever.
I
Um,
think Eric
but
and Carl are gonna do well,
it's a pretty safe bet,
and
right?
Dingy and I don't know
I
what
don't
other
know.
super
I think Dingy might still be he might
is
be on hiatus with the injured back or something. I
yeah.
don't
I don't
know.
know if any of the like newer super heavyweight guys that were at Olympia and stuff like that are going like
Yeah,
Tiny
it's going to be
or
interesting to see who kind of shows up from that newer group of. There's been some really big, strong lifters that have kind of emerged this past year,
yeah.
and it's going to be interesting to see who really makes the trip. So yeah, I'm going to be there, kind of hanging out, watching, and taking a look. But yeah, I don't know the full rosters, so it's tough to do a prediction type thing for that. Don't know everybody for these next two competitions either, but for nationals and North Americans, going to be a lot of big name people there. What events are you looking forward to the most in those competitions, would you say?
Oh, not the Euro, not the grippers. I mean,
Not pinch and grippers?
yeah, there's both of them start off with like narrow pinch and grippers, so I'm just gonna be down like 100 points to you immediately. Uh, then I'll claw my way back like 10 points on the other ones maybe if I have a good day. But you're definitely gonna get some good revenge after King Kong on these next two ones. But
I don't know though, man. You never know until you get in there and start doing stuff. But
I think I'm less bad at Silver Bullet than gripper closes. Like I can
mhm.
closing it all the way, just that position for my hand does not feel good. Obviously, it's something I need to work on if I want to get better at grippers. But right now, like that slightly open position is feels a lot better for me. I
Mhm.
don't know if it's like the length of my fingers, it's just like natural kind of the way it sits in my hand. I have trouble fully compressing it, I think.
And I
But it's
think
probably
definitely
a
like
technique thing.
it
People
could
with big
be,
hands
but
do them all the time.
Yeah, and but like grippers also like different spreads or different, I don't know, everybody has different shaped hands and stuff. So that's one I think just takes more time to kind of figure out. I'm sure I
Yeah.
could probably improve a million things with the grippers I've been doing. Not that I do them all the time, but
Yeah. I mean,
um
I haven't done a medley yet in any competition, so I'm excited for that on both of them. Andrew's axle, I want to get a little bit of revenge on. I feel like I left some on the table at heavy hands.
I think I left about 40% on the table the one time. I had a terrible day that day. I just was not, I don't know if it was the travel or just the point in time where I was at lifting and training. But yeah, that I did okay. But yeah, man, that
Yeah,
Andrews.
like Nick's last snack town that I went to, like last year, like I was on a little family vacation for my kid's birthday, and we were walking around Hershey Park in the hot sun for like 9 hours the day before. And that whole day, I was like, everything feels heavy, and I'm just Chaz and Indy are just killing me on everything. So
Yeah,
it's
just
just one of those days.
you get burnt out sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
trained. I probably didn't train as much as I should have, and just off day.
All right, I'm not gonna try to steer it to a controversial thing, but is there any implement, or we'll say implements, any implement within the sport, any organization, whatever, that you think should just never be contested again and just banned, outlawed, unnecessary, get it out?
That's a good one. Any of these little nub, I don't know, key pinch.
Oh man, you're hating on key pinch?
I don't know. Someone said if you can't lift 100 pounds on it, then I don't give a shit about it. So,
Who
oh,
said that?
I don't know. Some oracle from the deep desert, I think. Uh, I don't know. The little like finish ball, that kind of thing doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm great at it. Just like the little teeny tiny, it's like grabbing a little, like the size of a nail, that kind of stuff. It's just
Okay,
fun.
like a stub or something, or
Yeah,
those
that's
things,
just
and,
fun.
and those haven't been really contested as much, or sort of
Yeah.
died down. But there are occasionally some events where that stuff gets thrown in there.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that's probably. I mean, for me, 2 inch Saxon can just go away, but
Oh man,
that's just a me thing.
no, yeah, you can't get rid of 2 inch sacks, and it's a pretty good one. I mean, just to mix it up, that way it gets you from just doing the 3 inch every single time. But no, I do kind of get some of the trinket lifts or whatever because I think yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'd have like a place in a medley or as an oddball event after some of the core events have been contested. But yeah, in general, if our goal is to kind of be doing a competition that's based around strength and lifting maximal weight and testing grip, you wonder how what does that really tell us result wise, for what we're
Yeah,
trying to find out, and it doesn't always really line up or make much sense. So I totally agree on that one.
yeah. I
And that
think
was
we
just kind of
need.
a random
It'd be
question. I
interesting
didn't
to
know.
see like how Thumb Blaster shapes up this year because I think a
Man,
lot of people probably think that's kind of an oddball and like what are we really testing? It's like how much can you hook your thumb underneath this thing?
it is, but then it also has that like kind of flat finger pressure, kind
Yeah,
of with the flexion on it. So it's almost like a narrow pinch and then a rounded edge. So it's almost like a hybrid type lift. But the numbers people were throwing up last year, with that being contested for the first time and in King Kong and added to the database, man, people threw up huge numbers on that. And then there's also a big crop of lifters that I know, myself included, that didn't really get a chance to train on it much and totally know that we could lift a lot more on it. It's just like King Kong, I lifted terrible on that thing. I'll admit that I never touched it before. I might have done like one trial day just to see where I was at. And then, which that's on me. I just had other stuff going on. But yeah, I still I didn't lift near what I thought I would lift on it. So this next year coming up, I'm like, okay, that's not happening again. And I know there's several other people that kind of feel that same way. So
yeah. I think some of the people that got thrown off by it a little bit in the standings are definitely going to bring it up, and the whole level's going to come up. I mean, that was potentially my best lift. I mean, it's not like I, you know, crapping on it because I sucked at it or anything. It's just more. It's just kind of a strange lift for me. I feel like I barely get anything out of the finger pressure, and I'm just trying to hook my thumb under there. So
yeah, I mean that might be a yeah. I don't know. Everybody's gonna have a different balance for how they how they get it. But yeah, I almost think in my head doing so many inch dumbbells, I would almost rather the tube part, the round part on the thumb blaster, I would almost rather that be a little bit thicker and come out wider and almost make it not, it almost kind of that 1 5/8, it almost takes it to like a, what would I say? Not quite narrow pinch, but it almost has like a narrow pinch type feel to it. And if it's going to have that rounded thumb, I'd almost rather it kind of be out a little bit more. I feel like I'd be stronger, but like we talked about, you just got to improve on the thing. And, yeah, if I'm, instead of me saying, oh, let me change the size of the handle so then I can do better, we'll just get better at the thing. I'm not one to complain about that stuff. So yeah, just got to get on it and train it and do better on it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't. I already feel like you have a big advantage if you have a long thumb because you can dig it all the way in there. So I feel like if it was if it was a 2 inch, there'd probably be like 10 people that could get their thumb in there, and then everyone else is just hanging on with their thumb. So it might even be a
No.
little bit of more of a hand size thing if it was a little bigger, I think.
No, it definitely could be, and I think that's why being narrower is kind of better for
Yeah.
universal stuff, and that's why if I pick events for any type of competition, or have input, in event selection, I would still steer towards more of a universal size that kind of works for everybody, as opposed to what I'm good at. I'll adapt my training to it, if it's more beneficial for the
Yeah.
entire sport.
We could just
Um,
leave the wrist wrench in everyone. That's fine.
Now the wrist wrench is good. I do like the wrist wrench, but I will say for in comparison to some of my other stuff, I do feel like I need some work on the wrist wrench. I haven't lifted on it in a while, but when I did test some numbers on it, I wasn't up there very high. It was a struggle just to get around 100 on it, and
You would almost think that the people that are pretty good on rolling handles but really good on inch bells would be even better on the wrist wrench, but it doesn't seem to kind of line up like that.
I just think the way it's loaded and the way that it kind of torques sideways and really targets one element, I don't know. It's just a different type of feeling, And yeah, so I mean, any of these things, there's small nuances that kind of tax different things. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, wrist wrench is one that,
I think
yeah.
half the people ask me if I have some secret on it, and half the people tell me I'm doing it wrong, and I'm like, all right, I don't know. Some
How
people
do
are
they
like,
say you're doing it wrong? Just curious.
well, because I don't use my wrist, I just squeeze it.
Just go into extension. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, no. So yeah, so like if anybody's watching this, basically like with a wrist wrench, it's if I'm lifting it right-handed, it's going to try to roll me this way. And what they're basically complaining to Madkow about is if he's holding the handle, he's not really, fighting that torque with his wrist flexion. He's basically just going into extension, but still just having like a vice grip in the fingers and thumb, pretty much. Is that kind of what it is?
I kind of
Yeah,
end up like this
yeah.
almost.
Like you're not
I don't
using
know.
your wrist.
I'm
I
like,
can
I
feel
don't know what
that.
to tell you. Make
Yeah.
something that it forces your wrist to.
Right. Uh,
Yeah.
so it is an interesting thing though, but yeah, I don't know. Some people have different flexibility and are stronger in different positions. So,
Yeah,
figuring that out's a
I
big
don't
part of
know
the
if my
game.
wrist just like locks out and creates like a barrier for me to just squeeze against. So I would
It
say
could be, yeah.
tell people if you're struggling with it, then don't worry about like curling your wrist into it. Like, we're not arm wrestling, just lift it however you can lift it.
No, yeah, at the end of the day, it's trying to get a max lift on it and put more points on the board or
I
bigger
think the
numbers
way
on the
that
board.
like it's used as a training tool in arm wrestling maybe makes people think they need to like curl their wrist under it, like just because that's like the motion that you're training in arm wrestling. But
Yeah.
if you're just trying to lift something off the ground with it, I don't think it's always necessary. And then some people are like, I think maybe Ben or someone like that, who's like always curling his wrists under like an axle and things like that. Maybe he would want to, but
Yeah. Oh, and then, I mean, I know Adam hasn't competed in a long time, but like, Adam Glass and Jason Dingy are probably two of the people that have the strongest wrists I've ever seen. As far as like the thumbless lifts,
mhm.
there's not many people that could really hang with them on thumbless lifts, and their thumbless lifts are not very far off of some of the stuff they do just full hand with thumb. So, yes, to a lifter like that, yeah, it's definitely kind of knowing yourself and knowing what the lift requires to get your best performance on it. And yeah, it doesn't always have to be like some well, this image of ideal technique. It's like, well, if you can do 20 pounds within the legal, legal technique and legal lift, you don't try to force something. It's kind of like when you see people first try an inch dumbbell and they start to like scoop their hand all the way under it, and then it just keeps turning like a 180. You're like, you don't need to go that far under it, like unless you got like arm wrestling, like iron tendons, and you're
Yeah,
just gonna straight wrist
I've
it
seen
up.
like I've seen videos of Devin Larratt like lifting it, and he just kind of scoops it up, and they're like, you're kind of supposed to use your thumb, and he just scoops right up. I know. I mean, I've heard Carl on interviews said, I know he's very focused on like using his wrist to keep his fingers under the bar on thick bar
Yeah,
stuff. And then Eric, I've heard him made comments like, I don't focus on that at all. I just squeeze it with my hands and let my wrist go neutral and just lift it like that. So I think it really kind of just varies on the type of pressure that you're putting on the implement.
yeah. Do you have any topics that you can think of, or I don't know, question for the show? Anything that is sort of I don't know, just whatever comes to mind, really. Like I said, kind of covered most of your stuff, competition wise, past stuff. I'm just trying to sort of, think if there's anything that maybe we've left out or something else we could dive into. But yeah, I mean, it's totally up to you, on
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure there's some stuff. I mean, I am still waiting for someone to do the 40-40 challenge. I think we
Yeah.
were talking
Okay.
about maybe bringing that up.
No. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So there
I'm
is
really
a.
disappointed in like the Australians and the British because like they act like they drink beer out there and then they don't
Eh,
want to.
they just haven't delivered yet, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to see about some of these prospects over there for this challenge. But real quick, could you just break down what that challenge is? And you're
Yeah,
you're the inventor, and you had your like mock documentary. I don't know if there's a place anybody could find that. Is it uploaded somewhere?
yeah.
That
It's
would be
still on
funny
my
for some people to
yeah,
watch. But
still on my Instagram.
okay,
Just a 10-minute Instagram video made on my phone. But
it
yeah,
was
I made
funny.
I don't know. I don't remember how I thought of it exactly. But I probably saw something that just like jogged my interest in it. And I was like, already good on the wrist wrench, and I was like, I want to have something that's like a crossover where you got to hold it for a while, but also you're like kind of racing against the clock. So I made up
Mhm.
it's a 40 kilos on the wrist wrench, including the handle itself. So 40-kilo wrist wrench, pick it up and hold it, and you got to hold it long enough that you chug 40 ounces of beer before you can put it back down. So that's the challenge, and I've been throwing it out to a bunch of people, and no takers. Maybe some of
Yeah,
the
and
Brits.
nobody else has even. A few have maybe attempted, but I don't know that anybody's ever completed it. Right?
No, well, I think Fuller kind of misunderstood the rules.
Oh,
So he would pick it up, take a sip of beer, put it back down, pick it up, take another sip.
he's doing reps. He's doing
Yeah,
volume. He's doing
yeah. He
volume
was he
training
was
with
like
it.
he was like he was doing like Tour de France, like micro stages or something like that.
Yeah, as long as the plates are off the ground, you can drink. But if they're on the ground, you got to pause. No. Uh, but yeah, no, just so everybody's clear, for that challenge, it's lifted up, and then the plates do not go back on the ground until you have drank the full 40 ounces. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm
I don't
working
know.
for this summer. I'm going to do another challenge, the 40-yard dash with the 40 kilo. So
Okay, getting back into the athletic stuff, huh?
yeah,
You got a
that
good
you want to move faster, but is it going to make the wrist wrench rip out of your hand if you
bounce.
start
Yeah.
bouncing around? I'm not even
No,
sure if I can do it, but that's my next 40-40 challenge for anyone that's wants to start training for
I
the
could
summer.
when you get to posting some times or the rules for that one, let me know. And that's one I think I'll do a lot better at than the chugging one.
Yeah.
I don't know that that one's for me. I mostly
It's not super
because
convenient to just like do this thing where you're chugging 3 to 4 beers all the time, and then
and
it's
I
not
don't
like
drink.
it's not like you're gonna do 3 or 4 attempts in a night and just chug like 9 beers in a row and pass out. So
Oh no, yeah, it's but yeah, do you have it figured out for the 40-yard dash yet, or no? You're still kind of it's a work in progress for that
I
one for
think
your
you just
challenge.
gotta pick it up and it can't touch the ground. You just gotta carry it the whole way as fast as you can.
Okay, and you're thinking 40 kilos for that too, or
Yeah,
so
yeah.
40-40 that way? Okay.
I think 40 kilos on the wrist wrench is like a good. It's like bottom third, maybe the bottom half of people can't even pick it up. And then there's a good segment of people that can pick it up and they know how heavy that is. And then there's like a few people that are good at wrist wrench and they can actually hold it for
Yeah.
extended period of time.
No, I think that'll be a fun challenge, honestly, and yeah, that'll put the athlete in grip sport athlete. So
Yeah.
it'll
I'm
kind
gonna run like a 4.2.
Are you gonna run 4.2 with it?
Yeah.
It will be funny if people actually have it marked off properly and can actually get some accurate times logged. I would love to see how that list turns out after like 10 to 20 people do it.
Yeah. I
That'd
mean,
be pretty funny. If it gets that far, I would love it. I mean, that'd be
yeah, I think I was
funny to
holding
see.
it for like 25, 27 seconds when I did the 40-40 chug. So it's going to be a lot less, it's going to be, you're only going to be holding it for less than 10 seconds. So maybe you
Okay.
can, get a little more bold with jostling it around and run a little bit. I don't know. We'll do some
Okay.
testing.
So yeah, so we got the prior 40-40, the 40 pound, or sorry, 40 kilo, 40 ounce challenge. And then that's gonna, we're gonna have another branch where it's the 40 kilo, but taking it 40 yards. So the 40
Yeah.
yard dash with it. So no, definitely some interesting lists, and we'll see if anybody can jump on those and get their names added to the
Yeah.
list officially.
I'm just making up some of the dumbest challenges in grip for people to try, and nobody's trying them. So I guess joke's on me.
No, man, I think people will get into it. I think that maybe the first 40-40s, it might just be too much for people. Maybe you just found a little groove that you're kind of I don't know,
Yeah.
you're standing above the rest at. But I think the
Uh,
40 yard dash, I think people will get on that one a little bit more. Um,
I just figured there'd be some Australian or British guy that's like 6'8", 350 pounds and just drinks 40 ounces of beer like it's nothing. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Henry Mullet drinks. What's Henry Mullet doing right now? Get him a wrist wrench and yeah,
yeah.
send him some stuff. But
All right, Joe,
yeah, Joe Hodgson. Where's Aussie Joe at?
go train him.
And then have you challenged anybody in the UK or any of those guys? Are they
I
aware of it?
I
Anything?
brought it up to some of the guys with grip guys. I think I'm not sure if they
Okay.
digested it or not, but
Oh man.
maybe Tiny. There's that other guy that says that the arm wrestler guy that people talk about. They're like, well, he just picked up 2 inch bells and like walked down the road.
Oh, James Stewart,
Yeah, yeah,
Claymore. Yeah, no,
yeah.
dude, you might have to make 50 kilos for him to hold it. That dude's wrists are off the charts.
Yeah, I mean his forearms are like the size of my head, I think.
I don't know how big he is, like height and weight wise, but he's got to be huge. I need to almost look it up because yeah, no, James Stewart's a monster. I watched him do like I don't know, probably. I want to say nobody quote me here, but I want to say he had like a inch dumbbell, but I think it might have been like a strength shop replica. I don't even care. At least on this style of feet, because those bells are different. They're not technically true inch replicas, but like that dude picked up. I want to say one of them strength shop bells or something similar, and it was 78 kilos. It was basically the same as like an inch replica weight. And I think he did like thumbless rows with it and didn't even set it down or re-grip. And he did like 10 reps. And I was like, oh my God, like
That's
just to
wild.
row that much weight is ridiculous with no thumb and that wrist strength and the bell. Like, I don't know. It's just still one of the most impressive things I've ever seen after all these videos, all these years. That's still one that stands out to me as like, I just,
Yeah, he's
that's
a
just a
freak. I
freakish
think I
strength.
think Kim Johansson might have lifted an inch bell with 2 pints of beer on it and taken one and drank it and then take the other one off and drank it like a
That,
can lift but with open glasses of
yeah,
beer.
I wouldn't doubt that at all because that probably feels like about an 80-pound dumbbell to him.
Yeah, I mean he could probably
Like,
just hold the inch dumbbell in place for 4 or 5 minutes if you had to.
yeah, no, Kim's another athlete that's seriously just huge and very strong.
Yeah, maybe coconut
So
crab. We'll work on him too.
oh, he would be one that would probably be very good at it too.
Yeah,
Um,
I can
yeah,
start I can start taunting his brother and then he'll put pressure on him.
yeah, right. You just start. I don't know. You're almost going to start like your own side challenges here, your own list you got going on, and you
Yeah,
might get some rivalries stirred up.
yeah.
Um, like I said, I do. That was a good one that you kind of brought in there. I guess another thing I could mention is just trying to ask you, like, so far with being in grip for a few years and kind of getting to see some different stuff, talking to a lot of different people. Is there any advice that you've been given for your training or competing that someone gave you that really stood out, or is there anything new that you've added to training that's you feel like's made a difference, maybe? And you can go anywhere with kind of either one of
Um,
those, but just curious.
I think people do a lot of wacky stuff that's just too much. um, just over specified or just like stuff that you're never actually going to do. I would say focus on the stuff you're actually going to do. You can break it down into components if you want to do like a wrist curl to like break it down a component of a thick bar, that type of thing. I think that's all good and probably just vary training. But for a while, I was like, I saw people doing feats and I thought it was cool, and I was like, oh, I'd like to try those, but I'm like, I'm not gonna shell out money for that. It's whatever. It's just like a random lift. It's like you do it or you don't. I was more interested in like the competition lifts where it's like it's incremental. It's like where are you actually at? We keep loading it
Mhm.
up. But I do think the feet training, something that probably you and a couple other people have stressed, where people don't give that as like a training stimulus the credit it deserves. It's like it's just a totally different thing than lifting on a handle. It's like doing reps on like an inch bell or a submaximal inch bell or blobs and stuff like that. Like all that stuff just hits your hand in a different way that I think rounds you out. Because I go back to like other types of pinch after doing blobs, I feel like it does help. So maybe
Oh
it's
yeah, there's
position
anybody
that I'm
that
not used
yeah
to and stuff like that.
yeah I have always credited jumping in on like wide pinch and doing blobs like very early on in grip. I've always credited that to like once I did go back in narrow and had some good plates to work pinch on. Um, I think that really kind of like kind of fast tracked me to getting pinching 235s or pinching 245s. Even though it is wider, for me it really built up my thumb early on. So I'm glad that I kind of chased the feet of the blob, but then I also kind of got the benefits of it carrying over into other stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell
Um,
people if they can, if you have do block weights, do any kind of blobs, do plate. I think plate pinching is probably underrated for training because there's
Especially if you yeah, if you have single hand pinch in a competition too. I think
yeah
that's especially, now if you got Saxon, okay, maybe plate pinch, might be like an accessory or something you could mess around with on a pinch day or after the main work. But like, yeah, if you had like you know, I don't know, one hand euro and you didn't have a euro, it's not going to kill you to, throw some, I don't, you can do a lot of different ways to load or
yeah.
add
I mean,
tension to
everyone
plates
kind
and
of has
pinch.
some
And
plates, and you can add more plates or stick a pipe through it and
yeah.
order those simple things. I started doing a little more plate pinching, just trying to see what I could do and do more blobs and stuff like that. So yeah, trying to hit more feats this year. I bought the 210-pound Stanowitz bell that's coming. So
Now I'm not trying to like give any predictions on this, but I actually talked to Zach Stanowitz the other day about it, and why didn't Madkow just get a 200 bell from you? Why do you get a 210? And that was just because I had a bad day like the day before, and I couldn't even I maybe skipped it, and I said, man, Zach, I don't know. I think you should have got a 200. This 210's pissing me off. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not
Maybe you'll
expecting to
launch
lift
it.
it anytime soon.
You might launch it, man. But yeah, it definitely isn't. It's not a gimme for me. That thing has seen minimal air. My
Yeah,
Hall bell that's a 95 kilo, I've had a real good lift on it one time. Everything else has been, a couple inches in partials
yeah,
mostly. But that Stanowitz bell that I have that's around 210, 209 as well. I mean, I don't know if I'm just breaking it out on bad days or whatever, but I just haven't had much luck with that thing, man. And
yeah.
it's
I'm considering that like
rough.
a career project. Like
No,
a
and yeah, it might end up being a more of a long-term one for me here if I don't know, jump on it sometime soon. I've had it sitting out there for quite a while and not a lot of movement going on. So
yeah. I mean, I told you I was like I'd rather never lift the 210 and have it as a goal than like lift the 200 in 3 weeks and just I'm like okay, I should have got the 210 to work towards.
no, and then I understand it from that perspective as well. Yeah, that's very true. So speaking of the feats, as we kind of get ready to wrap up, or depend on
Yeah.
how
Fun.
you're feeling. But but yeah, is there any feat that maybe you're, I don't know, lifelong grip goal, or aside from that bell, but anything that in another area, I don't know, any feat you're chasing, certification feat, some type of challenge? Is there anything that is on your
Uh,
radar?
no certifications really. They're pretty much all of them involve grippers that I don't feel like chasing and focusing on. But
Mhm.
maybe one. I mean, the main things I'm trying to do are a double fat man lift, and a double inch bell lift. I haven't pulled that off yet because my left is, I don't know if it's from volleyball, just like snapping and like I played a full volleyball tournament a couple weeks ago with no training, and I felt all the muscles in my hand in like a different way than I have in a while. I was like, between dabbling in rock climbing and the strongman stuff, I don't know if volleyball just gives you like a wrist snap and like a hand. Just
Hmm.
your hand, I think, just has to become robust from like launching into a volleyball. Not that it's super heavy, but it's if you're taking the volleyball from 0 to 50 miles an hour in a millisecond or whatever, 3/10 of a second, I think that's going to build up your hand muscles. So,
Especially, I mean, you think years and years and years and like thousands of reps doing it. Yeah,
yeah.
once you really talk about like,
Mhm.
the accumulation of everything,
Yep.
um, yeah, I mean, any of those type of stimuluses, I think that
Yeah.
we kind of
I mean, it's
put
a
our
little
body
different, but
through.
like shot putters, they have their
Oh, yeah.
big shot put hand. It's not like they're gripping an inch bell or something like that, but like they build up all that thickness in their hand just from the pressure of pushing it and the pressure of pushing it.
Yeah. And then plus they're always like carrying them around or something. So they're always just
Yeah.
grab. I don't know, they're just, yeah. And we've seen a lot of throwers come into the sport and do very well also. I mean,
Oh
from kind of
yeah,
like the
for
track
sure.
and field side.
I'd like to see more throwers and like offensive linemen and stuff like that because there's offensive linemen are just pushing, grabbing, giant
Yeah.
hands, strong dudes.
And honestly, I would almost like to see. I know it gets back into maybe more of a hand size debate, but I wouldn't mind seeing some bigger people like NBA style.
Yeah,
Just because they have bigger hands or they're taller, longer frames, and just you know kind of see like, man, are there just some NBA players that don't even train grip that could just walk up and snatch?
yeah,
Not snatch. I'm saying just pick it up. I don't mean like actual snatch. I just meant snatch it off the ground. But yeah, grab it off the ground and just deadlift it. Um,
yeah.
but
Because there's
yeah,
they really like NBA players have next level arm and hand sizes. That's obviously they're really tall. So a lot of the guys aren't as tall as you think. They just have freakishly long arms and hands. Because like because I played at a pretty high level of volleyball. There's freaks out there that are 6'11", but there's a lot of guys that are 6'4" with a 6'9" wingspan, and you don't know that until you play against them. You're like, oh, they're an inch taller than me, but all of a sudden they have 8 inches of reach on you. It's like, whoa, that's different.
yeah,
There's
no,
people
for
I play
sure.
volleyball. I have big hands. People I played volleyball. People, my hands went up to there, and they had an inch of hand on me. And they were
No, yeah,
only they were only an inch taller than me, but they just had freakishly big hands. So some of these NBA guys, I think, have like crazy big hands and strong hands from playing ball. Obviously, that would be good to see.
not for sure. Yeah, and definitely like offensive linemen. That's one of the biggest. I don't know, just some of the biggest like well-rounded, strongest athletes that there are. Because it's kind of like the strongman when you have to do a moving event. Like it. I mean, it's an athletic sport. There's skill. It's very dynamic. A lot of mass involved, and I mean, you're just moving human bodies the entire your entire time. So,
Yeah, I mean
and
everything
so
goes
much
through
weight
their
training
hands.
too.
They're just hand fighting against like the most
Yeah.
explosive athletes in the world all day, every day.
Yeah, NFL offensive defensive linemen. I would love to get if you could just get hundreds of them, or even if they were retired, still and just boom,
Yeah.
like get them out. I would love to get some of them into grip and just really see what they could do.
Just
Um,
drop off like a 95 kilo inch bell at the combine and
yeah, see if it comes up. Um, yeah, no, that wouldn't be bad. Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. Like any other subjects, I know we're kind of just talking about random points at this rate. But yeah, anything else to kind of add in there or
uh no,
cover?
not too much. I mean, we'll see you at Nationals, North Americas. I'm excited for those trips. I've booked everything up, so I'll see everyone there. And King Kong, I'm going to try to host like a at least as big as I did last year or bigger. So that's the three things I'm focused on. I might do the Napalm World Championships now that I have all the implements. So something I could
Okay.
host a venue for. There probably needs to be a few more venues for that.
So you're definitely gonna be having some big competitions here in the next few months. Still gonna host King Kong, so that's a good portion of the year. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that's a pretty good portion of the year. You mentioned some kind of feats that you're also working on. So no, man, I think it's gonna be interesting to see. So yeah, if anybody wants to follow you, what would you recommend?
Just
Instagram? I don't know,
Instagram. I
just
was
if you
off
want to
there
throw it out
for
there.
yeah, I was off Instagram for a little bit, but I'll start making some wacky videos again soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say if anybody gets to checking out some of the videos, you're gonna have some like really cool lifts, and then you're gonna have some videos that maybe just confuse them. So it's yeah,
Yep.
it'll be interesting when they get there and start checking out some of the footage.
I got like pinching 210s. I got lifting an inch bell 3 times real quick. I got 40-40 challenge. I got juggling feats and feats while juggling, and then I got regular lifts and bad lifts with good editing and good lifts with bad editing. All
All
kinds.
of the above. It's definitely unique and it's definitely different than most grip videos out there. A lot of competitions coming up. Look forward to competing against you again and kind of just seeing how your training's going and especially for knocking off those feats. It's really cool to have both hands at that level of for blobs what we would consider kind of a gold standard fat man, and then the inch dumbbell's kind of the gold standard for dumbbell lifts from the history. And yeah, if you can lift two at the same time, both hands, that's a very, very
Yeah,
well-rounded
yeah,
display.
yeah. I mean, my left hand's dragging. That's what I was getting at with the volleyball thing. My left hand is
Oh
dragging.
yeah. No, it'll catch up. Take a little bit of time. Maybe not fully catch up, but it'll get to a point where
Yeah,
it
I
can do
mean,
its
if I
thing.
can add 10
Yes.
pounds to both hands, then I'm good.
Okay. Well, any last words before we get off here?
Um,
For the grip community, anybody, any
tell
call outs? You want to call somebody out at competition? I'm joking, but you can if you want. Um,
tell Stanowitz, don't be lifting my inch bell before you deliver it to me. I want to be the first to lift it like 5 years from now. So
yeah, yeah, Zach. Okay, so yeah, Zach, don't pick up that 210-pound dumbbell.
yeah, and Robert, I think Robert and Dave are going to bring it back from the Arnold for me potentially if they meet up with Stanowitz. So unless Dave gets a little frisky and starts lifting it, I don't know.
That could happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see
that
that.
could.
Yeah, I can see that. But no, man, hey, thanks for stopping by and doing the interview. And yeah, when we get some more stuff rolling in the future here, and I got some good scheduling going, we'll dive in on this with a little bit more freestyle. And like I said, I always mention doing panels, but I'm the same way I just started picking up one-on-one interviews again. I am going to get back into topic discussions. So yeah, hopefully anybody watching this will be able to see more of you in the future too if we get you on there for some
Yeah,
other discussions.
yeah.
So
I'm down to do some panels. I'll be at more events that I can talk about for recaps and RIP Chaz.
oh man, no, Chaz is still going strong. He's just on hiatus. He'll be back.
All right. Yep. Well, I'll catch you later.
All right, man. Yep, I'll see you. Thanks for doing the show.